Hey, my brothers and sisters in Christ. It is Sharon, and I am returning to you with how I study and understand my Bible. You know, I'm alone in my room. I prayed, I'm empty, and I'm ready to receive what the Lord has in store for me to receive, to learn. And so let's get about God's business here. Of course, you know I like to start with my observations, and I am studying John chapter 19 verses 1 through 42, and here's some few of the observations that I came across, and that was the Roman soldiers, the abuse of the Roman soldiers, Pilate's efforts to release Jesus, to convince the Jews this man is innocent, and the Jews' hatred for Christ. You know, they was just absolutely had nothing to do with him, hated him. And then I see the power, the strength of Jesus when he was standing before Pilate. And I see where Pilate does his best to humiliate the Jews. And I see Jesus caring for his mother on the cross. And then I call them the secret disciples, the Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus. And so anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with verses 1 through 3, the crown of thorns. Now, they have brought Jesus before Pilate, and Pilate is really like, I don't have anything to do with this, but just to satisfy you, Pilate he had him flogged. And a Roman flogging is nothing pretty at all. It is not. It does not follow the Jewish rules of flogging someone, because they would just do 39 lashes. But no, the Romans flogged them. Their flogging removed flesh, because they used these, I don't know, they call them cat o' nine tails. They had hooks on the end of lead or metal balls there on those whip things that they was hitting him with. And then the soldiers, with their meanness, you know, they make a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And this old robe, probably it was red, purplish red robe, put him on there and making fun of him and teasing and saying, Jesus, the King of Jews, you know, here's your king. And if the Sanhedrin could have seen that, they would have enjoyed the flogging, but calling him the King of Jews, hail to the king, no, they wouldn't have liked that at all. But he is returned to Pilate, and Pilate again makes an effort to say this guy is innocent. You know, in verses 4 through 14, Pilate does again try to free Jesus, and he tells him in verse 4 through 5, I have found no fault with him. And you know, this is all on you. And then in verse 5, he says, then Jesus came out wearing the robe and thorns and a purple robe. And Pilate said to them, behold the man. And you know, he was thinking maybe they see how badly beaten and stuff he is, they would have a little bit of compassion or say, okay, yeah, you know, that's enough. But no, the chief priest cried out, crucify him. And Pilate, he says again, I find no fault in him. You know, this man has done nothing wrong. And Jews was crying out, by law, our law says he needs to be put to death. He ought to be put to death. He blasphemed God, because you know they think he said he's the Son of God, because they didn't believe him. They said he was crucified. He was blaspheming God, which was not the case. And so in verses 10 through 11, you know, Pilate goes back to Jesus, you know, in this praetorium that they have, and he was like, Who are you? Where are you from? Do you know I have the power to crucify you or to release you? Now, Jesus was quiet through this whole thing, beatings, the interrogations and stuff. And he spoke to Pilate. He answered Pilate by saying, you have no authority over me except that which is given to you from above. Because Jesus in the Synoptic Gospels, as he tells Peter, do you know I can call down 12 legions of angels to take care of those soldiers. And a legion of angels is about 6,000 angels. And in one angel, if one angel can kill 185,000 men in one night, imagine what 6,000, well, actually 6,000 times 12, so 72,000 angels, what they could do to this entire world. And that was in 1 Kings 19 and 35, chapter 19 and verse 35, where that one angel killed 185,000 men. So, but in verse 12, it says Pilate still sought to release him, even though he done told Pilate, you don't have any kind of power over me. And in verse 14, it says, now it was the preparation day of the Passover. So it was like still Thursday, early Thursday morning, in about the 6th hour. And he said to the Jews, behold your king. He brings him back out to him. Behold your king. Now, John uses here, it is like Roman timing and not the Jewish clock time, because the 6th hour here, the study was showing that it is about 6 a.m. 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning. See, Jesus been on trial from like midnight all the way up to now. And that was a fast trial. And so if it was Hebrew, he probably would have said it was the 1st hour, which would have been like 6 a.m. But anyway, like it was still Thursday morning. And so in verse 15, the Jews are still insisting for his death, and they're saying, the crowd cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, shall I crucify your king? And the chief priest was saying, we have no king but Caesar. Well, they still got the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords right there in front of them, and they still don't see it, don't recognize him. And Pilate he said, I'm done with this. You guys take him, do what you're going to do. If you want to crucify him, crucify him. He sent them with the troops. And this is where Jesus' time clock clicks down to 1. He is down to 1. And so in verse 16, that's it says he delivered him over to be crucified. So they took him and led him away. And they took him up there to, it's called the place of preparation. The place of the skull, which is called Golgotha. That's what we know, or Skull Hill, Skull Mountain and stuff. And that's where they nailed him to the cross. They crucified him. And when they Pilate had made a sign that said, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of Jews. And this was done in Hebrew, Greek, and in Latin. And of course, the Jews didn't like that. They was trying to get him to change it and to say, no, just say, put on there, he says he's the King of Jews. But anyway, he did not. He said, what I've written, and let it be done. And that was it. He would not change that for them. And so anyway, Pilate's actions in doing this was to indicate his person of he was trying to indicate his power, his authority over the Jews and stuff. And then we see in verses 35 through 30 where Jesus is on the cross, but he takes care of his mother, and he looks to her and says, "Woman, behold thy son." And again, woman is a respectful term that they use back then. And she's at the cross, and then he says to the disciple which was with her, which is John, and he says, "Behold thy mother." So he was making sure that Mary would be taken care of in his absence. And because in the Jewish history, in Jewish cultures, the eldest son is responsible for the family if the father is dead. And so from that moment on, John took her and treated and respect her, cared for her, loved for her as if she was his own mother. And then Jesus says, "Well, I thirst." And they give him this, a sponge with sour wine and stuff on it, and puts it up to his mouth. And few seconds after that, minutes or whatever, it says that he said, "It is finished. It's done." His clock, excuse me, ticks to 0. Heaven, we have blast off. That's what he gave up the ghost. And now John's gospel does not give you the details as to what happened when he gave up the ghost. The moment that he gave up the ghost, there was a lot of things that happened. So you would have to study that in excuse me, in the synoptic gospels. But here, Joseph of Arimathea in verse 31 through 42, he goes and he asks Pilate for Jesus's body. And so it's him, and he was a disciple of Jesus, but he was not amongst the 12. And so he and Nicodemus, they both got the body prepared, and Nicodemus brought the about 100 pounds of herbs and things and wrapped the body and prepared him for his burial. And they had to do that in a hurry. Number one, Nicodemus was a Pharisee, and he is not supposed to be around any dead bodies or anything, especially with the feast day coming up, because he would have been declared unclean. But God just overrode all of that stuff, and he helped get him down, and they put him in a borrowed tomb, which it says that it belonged to Joseph of Arimathea. It was a new tomb. No one had been laid in it, but they laid Jesus in it because it just needed to be borrowed. Jesus was going to get up. And that will be covered in the next chapter 22. But this will bring my study to an end here at the burial of Jesus. And I just enjoyed sharing this with you, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So hit the like button, and remember to click share, and share it. By all means, share it with any and everyone that you can. Be blessed, and you have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye.